Hi, welcome to this lightning tutorial where I will show you how to run Kali Linux on your Mac or Windows through VirtualBox, which is a virtualization uh, technology from Oracle. So let's jump right in. So let's go to Google and let's first download VirtualBox. So type VirtualBox and you'll get the first link where you can click on it and download the 5.2.22 version. So click on the big blue button, and since I'm running on a Mac Book Pro, I'm going to choose OS 6 host and I'm going to save it. So the next step would be to download the VirtualBox extension pack, which is needed for you to move files from your client VM to your host OS. So let's go to the same VirtualBox website, but slightly go down and you'll see the all supported platforms. Make sure you have the same version of your VirtualBox, which is 5.2.22, and you go ahead and install it. The third step would be to download Kali Linux. So type Kali Linux into Google and it'll take you to the Kali.org website. Click on downloads and I'm going to choose the 64-bit Kali Linux to download here, and I'm going to use HTTP and click on it and download the ISO file. The ISO file is large, so in your system it's going to take some time. I have edited it to speed up this tutorial. So let's go ahead and save it. So the next step would be to actually install VirtualBox itself. So let's go and double click on the VirtualBox DMG file, and it's going to open up the VirtualBox DMG file. It's going to be verified, and it's going to open up a throw up a installer box where you can double click on the package file and start the installation. Please note you would need the MacBook Pro's administrator password or your Windows administrator password if you are doing this on Windows. So make sure you have that handy or you cannot proceed. So let's open the packager file and you need to click continue, and I'm going to choose the default location. I'm not going to change anything, so I'm going to install there. Click install and give your administrator password, and you can start the VirtualBox installation. So the next step would be to actually double click. Once this installation is completed, the next step would be to double click on the extension pack, so that gets installed also. So you'll be able to move files from the VM to the outside world, to your Mac and so on. So let's finish that step. Let's install, accept the agreement, and you would need the administrator password here also, so make sure you have it, and go ahead and give your password and click OK. So after this, your VirtualBox is ready to go. So the next step is to actually open VirtualBox and create a virtual machine. So let's click new and let's choose my Kali as the name, and we're going to choose Linux and the Debian 64-bit flavor because Kali Linux is a Debian flavor. Let's continue and choose, I'm going to choose 4 gigs as RAM here because I have a 16 gig system, but if you have a 4 gig system you can choose a 2 gig RAM. Go ahead and create a virtual hard disk, and I'm going to choose VDA, which is the default. Continue. I'm going to choose a fixed size. I'm going to choose 16 terabytes as my 16 gigabytes as my file system, and I'm going to create. So once that's created, the next step would be actually your virtual machine actually gets created, but it's still empty. So you need to attach a ISO file, the Kali ISO file to it, and run the Linux installation. So your ISO gets burnt into this VDI image, VDI file. So let's go ahead and click on my Kali, open the virtual machine, and let's choose your ISO file and let's start the Linux installation. So click on Kali and click on the ISO option drop down and say open and start the installation. There you go. And once you start the installation, now it's actual Linux installation that's happening, just like how you do in other bare metal systems. Just install and press the enter button, and you need to use the scroll button to choose install. So the Linux installation is has started, and I'm going to choose English, United States, American English. My accent is not American, but I live in America. So let's go ahead and start the installation. Let's wait for some time and pretty much choose the defaults. Choose yes for most of these options, which is the default. Make sure you don't press cancel when this installation happens. That is, take your hands off the enter key until it says. So give the host name as Kali, and you can leave the domain name empty, and you can give it later. Give a root password. I give my root password as Kali, K-A-L-I, and I press continue. I choose Pacific since I reside in the West Coast, and there you go. So the installation has started. I'm going to do the guide at use entire disk. I'm not going to mess with partitioning LVM right now. So, and I'm going to choose the hard disk, which I install the 16 gigs. And I'm going to choose the default device, which is the dev SDA, and finish the partition, write the changes. And there you go, the partitioning setup. And we are installing the Linux operating system, the Kali Linux operating system into the virtual machine. So once this step might take a long time in your system, I have edited it so it goes fast. I'm going to choose yes for the network mirror, so you can download these app packages that are necessary. It's actually necessary for your grub to be downloaded. So if you're behind a proxy, give your proxy, otherwise leave it blank. So the next step would be to actually download the grub2 package and set up the bootloader. So it's all going to go seamlessly. You just have to make sure you watch the screen and make sure it proceeds. So it's installing the grub PC now, and now it's going to install the grub bootloader into the master boot record. Type yes. And to choose a dev SDA device as the bootloader destination, and click yes, and it's going to run it. And the next step is actually it's going to complete your installation, and it's going to do an automatic reboot. It works just like a bare metal Linux system. So you just have to, once it finishes, it's going to reboot it automatically. You won't see a difference. You'll see the screen go blank, and you'll see the Linux getting reloaded. So let's wait for that. And yes, continue. Okay, and it's going to finish the installation right now, and there you go. So it has started the reboot, and now your Kali Linux is actually loading. So I'm going to choose the Kali GNU Linux and press enter, and I'm going to give my username is root, and I'm going to give my password that I used before, which is Kali, K-A-L-I, and I'm going to sign in. There you go. So you have set up Kali Linux. I'm opening the terminal, and I'm going to type nmap version to make sure things are working fine. So I hope you like this. Hi, welcome to this lightning tutorial where I will show you how to run Kali Linux on your Mac or Windows through VirtualBox, which is a virtualization technology from Oracle. So let's jump right in. So let's go to Google and let's first download VirtualBox.